All right, folks, and like I said earlier, what is a tech show without talking about technology? I know we spent a lot of time talking about our journey and how things have been and what we've learned up into episode 20, but let's jump back into some tech. And Greg, you again, we can never talk enough about customizations, right? There's always something new to learn. We're always constantly figuring out new things and learning new things on our own. And again, we love to share those with everyone. So let's talk about some of the customizations that you made to your home screen and focus modes and things like that.
Yeah, so I got rid of one of my focus modes. I had this morning focus mode where until like 9 o'clock in the morning, both my iPad and my phone changed the home screens just so it was the stuff that I did for my morning study, like my scripture
Hmm.
study and some of that kind of stuff. But I found that that doesn't really work for me anymore. So I got rid of that focus mode and I've remapped focus modes to some of my screens. I did figure out on my fitness focus mode that I could initiate that one if I was using the workout app or that workout doors app that I
Hmm.
use. So I've got that triggering, and that just cleans up a bunch of stuff. It puts on the Wayfinder watch face, which I like when I'm riding my bike, and because I can, see the elevation and some of those kinds of things,
Right.
and then it simplifies everything else. But I decided that when I got my Pro Max, I was going to try and go all in on widgets on my
Yes.
home screen on my phone. So I'll just talk about that. I mean, I did revamp my iPad home screen a little, not as much, but for my home screen, I wanted to get rid of all the icons. So, and I
Okay.
was able to do it because most of the time um, when you've got a widget, you tap on it and you can get into the app, right? So that
Yeah.
was kind of my premise. So I did change my dock. So originally I had something else in the place of Safari in the dock. I can't remember what it was, but then I realized I was using Safari so much that I didn't
Hmm.
want to keep using Spotlight Search or go to a second page. So in my dock on the right is Safari, then Messages, then pCalc, and then
Yeah.
Outlook. Now Outlook's what I use for email. Period. End of story. All my Gmail, all my work email, everything goes through Outlook. So my work calendar is in there, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what my dock looks like now. And then
Okay.
above that, I've used Widget Smith to put my absolute favorite picture of my wife.
Yeah.
And it's in one of the medium sized ones. So that is there. And then if I swipe up on that widget, it goes to find my for her. So, if I
Okay.
want to see if she's left school or whatever the case may be, then I can go
Right.
in and see that. I don't, my kids are in college, so I'm not going to try and track the college kids. That's
Yeah.
probably a
Yeah. You
bad
have no
idea.
need to.
They've left it on, so I can still go see. And every
Yeah.
once in a while, like when I need to talk to Dustin or something, I can see if he's um, in the music building at U of
Right.
H or
You
not,
you'll
right?
know whether to message them or not. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense.
So, but anyway, so I can tap on that and get into it, which is great. Next, that because the medium icons you can put two side by side, right?
Yes.
And I'll do a short on this, just kind of show this, or I'll throw a screenshot up or something like that if I can make sure that there's nothing I don't want the world to see on here. Then
Hmm.
I use notes a ton, not just for our show, but for all of my personal journaling, my personal study is notes. And so I actually have another medium sized widget that is two different notes widgets. One of them is it'll open the last created quick note
Okay.
and it shows the text in there. And so first thing in the morning, and I actually need to build a shortcut to do this. Every day I want a brand new quick note. And so I need to build a shortcut that just at 12:01 a.m. it automatically creates a new one and it's just sitting there nice and neat for me to use. I need to
Okay.
figure out if I can do that. But anyway, so I can see that one there and I can just tap on it and it pulls up the note. Now I'm getting some weird behaviors and I wrote about this in the iOS 17, or I talked about it in the video I did on iOS 17. Sometimes when I go into notes from these widgets, it
Hmm.
doesn't go where I expect it to. And if it does go, like if it goes into the folder and I tap on a note in a folder, it doesn't open it. But if I hit back, then it's on that note. So there's some weird behavior
Okay.
going on there. But that's what I have
So,
there.
any other widgets not updating? Because I've been seeing that too. Like the
Mm-mm.
widgets just don't update like they
Nope.
should.
Haven't had
Okay.
that
So maybe I'll
problem.
just do a soft reset.
Yeah. And then my other one, if I swipe on that widget, the other one is all my iCloud notes. So the reason I put that one up there is then it puts up any note that's the most recent one I did something with. I can
Right.
put it there. And I've got some pin notes that I use regularly, or like right now, the one that's showing on there is the show outline for today's
Yeah.
show because we've been updating that. So above
Okay.
that, I have a large a large set of widgets, and one of them is Fantastical, and I'm using Fantastical's calendar and up next. So it's like got a couple of appointments that my daughter has later today because I don't have anything else, at least on this calendar after we record. I have a meeting when we're done today, but it's on my Outlook stuff. So that's kind of my
Okay.
personal calendar, but it also is a way for me to see the date. And, I'm always trying to figure out what day is something is happening on, that kind of stuff. So I've got
Yeah.
there. If I swipe on that stack, then I also have the all iCloud, which now I need to remove since I put it down there um, in that smaller one. So actually, I'm going to take that off right
Okay.
now. And by the way,
Wait,
I
but that one's
have
showing like birthdays and anniversaries and things like that. So you
Fantastic
want to
Cal Ken.
remove that one?
No, I'm
Oh, okay.
removing
I
the
didn't realize.
notes one. I've got two. Basically, I've got two widgets now that go to the all notes folder in notes. I don't
Hmm.
need that one. That's the one I'm removing.
Okay.
So, but no, the
So
Fantastic Cal one I'm leaving on there for sure.
okay, and that one, and it does like the holidays. It
Yeah,
shows you Arbor Day
exactly.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And then the other one behind that, so this is kind of my functional one. The other thing behind that is Microsoft's To Do app, because that's what I use for all my to dos. So I can just swipe and I can see that.
So
And
you don't use the Apple. Uh,
reminders?
I thought you used reminders. Yeah.
No, I don't. Not for work related stuff. So I do use it for
Okay.
my personal reminders and things like that. But I like Microsoft To Do. It integrates into the Outlook app. It's good on the Mac.
Right. Right.
Um, so yeah, I use it because I can categorize things just a little bit better from a work standpoint. So,
Okay.
and that's free even if you don't have an Office 365 subscription.
Okay.
So yeah, I use that. They've made it interactive. Them and Fantastical, both of those widgets are totally interactive. So,
Okay.
and then the top large widget. So I've got three levels of widgets, right? Two mediums on
Hmm.
the bottom, a large one on the middle, and the large one on the top. And the top one, I've got Widget Smith, that cover flow one that I told you about, right? Where you can swipe through
Yes.
the album covers. And so I've got that one with the things that I do the most. I've got, my station that if I want Apple to just play a bunch of music that it picks for me, it'll do that.
Right.
And then I've got, you'll laugh about this, but Riders in the Sky. Remember the old band with Tumble and Tumbleweeds and that kind of stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's one of them. And then I've got, some of the other key playlists that I listen to just a ton are in that. But it's really nice because I was able to pick, like, for my Christmas playlist, I've got a picture of the Christmas village that I do with the Christmas tree. So anyway, that's what I've got there. The great thing about that is I tap through once I get to the playlist, I just tap on
Hmm.
it again and it starts playing. And underneath that is the Music Now Playing app. So that'll automatically update that too. So
Okay.
once I hit play on that, I can see that it's been updated. And then the third one in that smart stack is Overcast. And I can resume the podcast I was just listening to, or it's showing me the two new podcasts that have dropped in my feed. And so that's kind of my entertainment widget that's up there on the top. So I've got my
Okay.
entertainment, my work, my wife, and my notes. That's all my home screen. There's not a single icon other than in the dock.
Okay. So how are you navigating icons? Not, I know there's other pages of apps and things like that, but when you need quick access, are you just using Spotlight?
Yep. And this
Okay.
is why I had to set this up. So if you put the large widget down on the bottom, because where my thumb rests is like right in the middle of the bottom set of widgets, right?
Yes.
If I put the large one down there and try and do Spotlight, it activates the widget too often. It's like I'm
Yeah.
tapping on the widget. So by putting the two medium ones there with space in the middle, it's not a big deal. I just drop down Spotlight. And especially with shortcuts for the different things you're searching for showing
Hmm.
up when you search through Spotlight, that's what I'm using. My second page has 6 apps, 3 folders mixed in with some other stuff, 7 apps and 3 folders mixed in. But I hardly ever go to this. One of the things I do go to this page for, that's where the phone icon is now, is on page 2. And I only have 2 pages. But one of the reasons I come here is I have a large widget from Sports Alerts that's got all of the top 25 college
Yeah.
football teams on it right now.
Right.
so I can see those.
Like the ranking, it shows
No, it's
it'll
got their
just the
games.
rankings.
So like right now,
Oh,
it's
okay.
showing all the Saturday games, what time they are, and what their what their records are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then behind that is the actually that one's a pretty deep stack. I've got the weather widget, so I could get it there, but I usually do weather on my watch. I've got the Find My or the contacts widget,
Yeah.
a large one with 4 contacts from my family in it, and then I've got a news widget just to show Apple top news stuff. So
Okay.
the other widget I have on there, and this one's kind of the way I'm trying to make it work is I do go into photos quite a bit, and so I put a medium widget up there that's photos, so I could just
Hmm.
tap and go into that photos. I'm probably going to get rid of that widget and just put the photos icon on because it changes what photos it's showing me. Sometimes it'll do today or whatever, and so then when I go into the
Right.
photos app, I still have to switch and go to the library. So
So that's what I was gonna ask. Can you keep a static photo on there?
well, I
Select the photo
could.
that
I
you
think
want.
I could if I did Widget Smith, but this was I just wanted to go straight into the Photos app. This was instead of
Right.
having the Photos icon, just use the widget to go into the
Yeah.
Photos app. So I'll be tweaking that one. So I don't go to this page a lot. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
just
You just from
yeah
that one single page, your front page.
yeah. So and I have done a few things like I've created shortcuts for apps. And like if I had the icon for my scripture study app on here, it would
Hmm.
not be the default from the church's that installs. It would be a custom picture of Christ that
Yeah.
I have that would do it. um, so I changed it to that, and
Yeah.
some of those kinds of things. So that's a lot of customization that you can do, but I wanted to share that. I'll try and do um, a short or something like that on it, but I've got a combination of all these things: widgets, custom icons, shortcuts, focus modes, action button.
Yeah.
Really love the action button, what I'm doing with the action button. So it's part of what's I said this in my blog post. I'm falling back in love with using the iPhone,
Right.
and it's a
Right. And you
combination of all these things that I can now use it kind of the way that I want to use it. And there's only one thing that's driving me absolutely bonkers. And I heard somebody else finally say this yesterday on a podcast. I was listening to ATP. Casey List said the same thing. He was trying to use the 80% max charge. And he
hmm
just went up to the max phone. He had never been on a max phone. He's finally on the max phone. But he's having the same problem that I am, is that it just makes me think about the battery life way too much. Now, over the
Right.
weekend, I was in and out of the house doing a whole bunch of stuff, never put it on a charger during the day. And charging it to max, I'd go to 80%, and then it would end the day around 20, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
there's
Same here. Same
something
here.
stressful about that battery icon feeling mostly empty. And I don't put the percentage up, but it feels mostly empty. And I haven't had a day where I was like always on cellular yet.
Yep.
And so I'm just concerned that it would put me down into low power mode by the end of the day, like if I was out and about all day. So, I
Yeah.
mean, the reality is I just need to turn this off. It's stressing me out, right? I just need to turn it
Yeah.
off and let it charge to max. And the battery life will still be fine in a year when I trade it in or when I decide to turn it into my camera
Right.
for the podcast. So,
And
but beyond
if the
that,
battery's damaged and it goes down below, what is it, 79%, you can
yeah,
just take it and get it replaced anyway. So
yeah,
it's really no big deal. You are
yeah,
stressing for no reason.
yep. So, matter of fact, I'm going to go do that right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go turn that setting off. So, but yeah, I mean, it's making this stuff do what you want it to do, right? And
Yeah.
I said this about the Snoopy watch face. If the Snoopy watch face makes you happy, use it, right?
Yes.
If you want to go change, you want to go buy a custom icon set and make everything look like Easter pastel for Easter's and red and green for Christmas and whatever, do it. And if you
Yeah.
want to know more about how to do that, we'll help you. It's all through shortcuts, so it is a little bit more technical, but it's nothing that most people couldn't figure out how to do once you have the icons. So,
Right.
yeah, do what makes you happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. A lot of people don't realize how techy they are until they have to do something on their own, right? If they're so used to just handing someone the phone or saying, "Hey, do this for me," or do that. Once they try to do it on their own and they say, "Hey, that really wasn't that hard," they realize
Yeah.
just how much they've been trained over the last few years with these new devices and things like that. So, yeah, yeah,
And that's what we're here for.
yeah, we'll get you through.